somewhere over the rainbow, you crash on a magical island. Welcome to Lost All Caps.
Nice. I like that one.
Because, in case anybody hasn't picked up on the fact, the very, very, very exciting new character we were introduced to in this episode, Henry Gale, his name is a reference to The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Dorothy's uncle, Henry Gale.
Dorothy Gale.
And I think they love their literary references on this
They
show.
do. They love them.
And I think Wizard of Oz is a really fun one, because it's kind of like, you know, crashing suddenly into this magical world, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think it works very well, and also in the kind of like fantastical like adventure, and this is very much not like, you know, a lovely, exciting, fantastical adventure.
No, it's quite horrible, but and yeah, like with Henry Gale being like, you know, all the actors at the start, they end up playing one of the characters later on, don't they, in the movie?
Yes.
I can't remember who he plays, but I have a feeling it's the wizard.
I think he is the wizard,
and
yeah.
like the wizard is a really good metaphor for Henry Gale in Lost, because it's like, who is he?
Who is he?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
is he lying? Is he telling the truth?
Yeah.
Is he just,
is he a normal guy?
A normal guy from, you know...
Or is it all smoke and mirrors?
We're not in Minnesota anymore.
We're not in Minnesota anymore!
I mean, they
done
didn't...
that as my intro
they didn't
line.
really push it home with his wife. His wife's name's Jennifer. But
So it
it's
could have been-
Aunt Em and Uncle Henry.
Oh,
so
of course, yeah.
it could have been. Could have been. But hey, maybe that's an indicator.
I thought you were making a
He's
gay
lying.
joke 2 minutes in.
Oh,
I can't lie.
no.
Him being a
He
friend
is-
of Dorothy.
He is a friend of Dorothy. Yeah. He's
My wife. He's lying!
lying.
How do you know? Jack. Jack's like the straight guy. Like, how do you know?
No.
And Saeed's
My
like,
gaydar.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Velvet.
And this is one of them, episode 42 of the podcast. Woo! We're just going to do one, don't worry.
We're not doing that again.
We know it got super annoying last time, even though we really enjoyed it. Ooh, shall I give this as a little hat to Zombie Lady?
Oh, it's gonna go badly. A helmet.
Oh. It
Sort of
looks
giving
like-
Silent Hill.
Yeah, or she's in a little bell jar. She's Sylvia Plath.
Sylvia Plath.
We might have to rename her. Sylvia Plath.
Sylvia Plath. Bracket zombie.
Sylvia Pyramid Head.
So we are so excited for today.
Episode 42!
Not only is it episode 42, but it is an incredible
Oh,
episode.
This episode is so good.
Like, it is...
I feel like, I always think about this one and I'm like, oh, it's the one where we first meet Henry Gale. But it's so much more than that. Like, even if he wasn't in this episode,
It would be amazing.
it would be so good.
The flashback narrative is so incredible.
Yeah.
Everything that happens on... Well, not everything. The frog thing, I don't care. Everything that happens in the main narrative on Island is so... It's just everything in this episode is so loaded with significance.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talked a lot last week about how it was just kind of felt like a filler episode. And it really feels like it was building up to this, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's like we're pulling all the triggers. So much happens.
Yes.
Not only with, you know... Henry Gale and with Saeed, but like we get some really interesting stuff about like the Hatch
Yes!
and the Dharma Initiative.
Oh my god.
And like so much. There's a lot of interesting character moments, like oh my
There's
god.
so much.
I mean, it's like last week for the long con I made 2 pages of notes. Today I've made 5.
We paused it more times than I think we've ever done before, which is crazy. Actually, how many times did we pause it during the montage sequence?
In the first episode,
Yeah.
I don't think we paused it at all, because you timed it, remember? I think we watched the whole thing and then we paused it and made a bunch of notes afterwards.
Desmond's montage.
Oh, Desmond's montage.
No, Desmond's montage.
Desmond's montage did take about 40 minutes to get through, I think.
It may be on par with how
we
many times
paused the other
paused
48
this.
days a lot as well.
Yes.
But this episode we had to keep... It was like...
because I wanted to
we wanted to watch
be
it.
in the moment. Because I think one thing this episode does really well is tension and like building up the kind of like, yeah, just like all the interrogation scenes are so interesting and they really hook you in. But it's like, oh, but there's so much important information here I need to write down so I don't forget.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, we were hindered slightly by the amount of subtitles as well, so we had to keep pausing it to be like, oh, I was writing things down, I didn't see what he said.
Something I always forget when we're watching the show is, like, there are lots of different writers and lots of different directors.
Yeah.
Involved in it.
It makes me wonder, like, what patterns emerge when you look at, like, who worked more heavily on what. Like, I wonder if, like, because I've done a couple of shows, obviously at a much lower caliber than this, but, like, theatre shows where it's, like, multiple writers, multiple directors, and you always find that you get, like, as, you know, you get more attached to certain characters, and you'd be like, oh, I want to write that moment because I've written a lot of this character's arc or whatever. Yeah. And so I wonder how that's, like, worked out. Like, is there certain writers who are really attached to, like, different character arcs and stuff?
That'd be really awesome if they had, like, one writer who did the Saeed episodes, one writer who did the early episodes or something. I don't think that's the case. But yeah, there's definitely one guy who they got in to do a lot of the lore-heavy ones, and actually, I want to say this is a huge, crazy bit of lore, of information that I found out. I guess you can't call it lore when it's real life, can you?
Real history.
About Lost. So the guy who wrote the episode Numbers was told, when he was writing the script, okay, so there's this sequence of numbers, and, you know, it's very linked to the island, it brings Hurley to the island indirectly, it's got this curse on it, blah, 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 blah. So he's told all of that in the kind of pitch of the episode to write, but he was not told what the numbers were.
They just said, like, just pick some numbers,
They
right?
wouldn't, Damon Lindelof and Colin Cuse did not give him, I don't know if JJ was involved still at this point, or if he only did the first few pilot
I'm not
bits,
sure.
But they did not give him any numbers. They just said, there's this list of numbers. So what he did is he went back to previous episodes and found significant numbers in those episodes and then used them in the sequence of numbers.
Crazy work.
That blew my mind that came first. So there's this clip of him on a podcast talking about it, saying like, oh, so yeah, Locke had been in a wheelchair for 4 years, so I decided to go with 4 as the first one. And I was like, what? And then he was like, yeah, then the flight number 815. And I was like, what? And then the 23 came from Kate's ransom. Being $23,000. And then he said 42 was a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Which I kind of assumed was the case, because that one is referenced less in the show, and I was like, it feels like we know they love their intertextual references.
Of course. And very interesting when you think about the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
The numbers.
Coming at the end of the numbers sequence. But that blew my mind. And
that
it also
crazy.
Explained how. Do you remember when we were going and we were like, why did they not... Episode 4 is a really good one. But episodes 8, 15 and 16 are kind of like meh. So why did they do that? It's because they haven't figured out the numbers yet.
They didn't have the numbers yet.
And then 23 is a really good episode because that's Exodus Part 1.
Yes.
And then 42, which is actually not this episode, because obviously we've done a few
We've gotten a bit ahead because of our interviews.
But the actual 42nd episode of the show is a really good one as well. So
obviously they implemented it later on.
So that clears that island mystery. Solved. That's my little stamp coming in. Solved.
While we're on tangents that aren't directly related to the episode,
please,
I have something to tell you about. This is more circling back to me like doing theatre. I had this crazy stress dream last night, where I was directing a theatre show, and in the cast were Jin and Sun.
No way!
And it was such a fucking nightmare. For some reason, neither of them could speak English, and I was trying to give them direction, and they were just not. They just couldn't understand me. Yeah. And I kept being like, and it was like the show was happening, and I kept being like, Jin, you're not supposed to be on stage right now, or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Or being like, and it was like, they were not in position, and it was really pissing me off, and he kept getting mad at me, and I was like, you're the one who's on stage at the wrong time. I'm pretty sure he was playing Wario.
What?
I don't know what the play was, but I'm pretty sure he was playing Wario. He definitely had purple dungarees on.
Oh my god.
I don't know who Sun was playing.
Peach, I'd assume.
I guess.
If you were going to cast her as a Mario character, would she not be Peach?
She'd be Rosalina.
Rosalina.
Also, the guitarist from Fall Out Boy was playing a horse.
Oh my god.
And he was kicking off about the costume, and I was like, put it on, Joe! I was really stressed. I woke up and my teeth were hurting from how hard I was clenching my jaw.
Oh my god! That's mad.
And I had to lay there and be like, it's okay, Jin and Sun aren't really going to be in the show you're directing.
Jin and Sun aren't real, first of all.
Jin and Sun aren't real.
You're not directing a show.
They're not there. Everything's okay.
There's no horse costume.
I mean, there
Take
is
a deep
horse.
breath.
There's a horse costume under my bed, but that's irrelevant.
That's for personal use.
That's my own personal horse costume. It was so stressful, and it was like, I just could not, I was like, nobody knew what they were doing and where they were going, and I kept trying to give them directions and they were just not listening to me, and I was like, I know you don't speak English, but come on.
Yeah. I have so many stress dreams about being on stage, and like, I'm in a play and I don't know my lines, I don't know where I'm supposed to go, yeah.
Even worse, like stress dreams about directing are so much worse, because it's like, no one knows what they're doing and everyone's asking me what they're doing and I don't know.
I don't think I've ever had a directing stress dream. I've only directed a play once in my life and it was pretty chill. Everyone was very nice, so...
Yeah, my shows are never stress-free. But hey, at least the entire cast speaks English.
Touch wood.
So that's out of the way, let's talk about the episode. So this episode is fucking crazy. But I wanna get something out of the way at the top of the episode. Because, listen, the tone of this episode is very serious. Mm-hmm. But I just need you all to know that the serious tone is tarnished slightly. Because this episode features a very serious, very scary soldier, right? This guy with the grey hair who makes Saeed torture his commanding officer. Unfortunately, that man voices Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
So, I think of him as Mr. Krabs.
That's really interesting, because I didn't think of him as Mr. Krabs. I recognised him as the guy from Highlander.
Ah, so yes, that would be the where you're supposed to recognise him from.
Probably.
I think, he's famous for Highlander.
Yes.
But to me, he is Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like Mr. Krabs. Like, his delivery doesn't sound like Mr. Krabs.
No, but when you kind of, like, listen in, you're like, oh, I can hear the cadence of Krabs coming through.
When you know, it's like SpongeBob, me boy. And it's like, that's just really unfortunate, because it's a very serious situation. Yeah. And the whole time I am like, but that is Mr. Krabs, though.
Yeah. There can be only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's very scary in Highlander, though, so that kind of fits a bit better than Mr. Krabs. Although, arguably, Mr. Krabs
is
quite scary.
He's sort of...
He's the villain of the piece.
Plankton's the villain of the piece, but he's a more villainous character.
Yeah.
Because he only cares about the money, he doesn't care about the business.
Yeah.
And obviously SpongeBob cares a lot about the business.
I used to be scared of SpongeBob when I was a kid.
Not the character, the show as a whole. I feel you need to... not the guy, Bob himself.
He contributed to it.
Wasn't it Squidward mostly that you didn't like?
No, it was all of the, like, gross stuff. Like, you know how, like, randomly they'll, like, zoom in on his ear and there's, like, bugs and shit crawling around in there or something?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just a very kind of, like... That kind of era of cartoons would be very gross, very randomly, like unexpectedly.
Yeah, like unexpectedly high def and stuff.
Yeah, and it would just be like a gag to make people laugh, but it would upset me. I didn't like it.
So Mr. Krabs is in this episode.
Yes. I guess we should sort of say content warning, torture and war and like a lot of very like intense themes.
Death and grief and
stuff. Lots of blood and gore.
Well, I mean, I don't think an audio podcast needs a blood warning, does it?
Hey.
We might talk about blood a little bit.
How far are you into Magnus Archives?
Good point. I know we're skipping to the end, but like that's the way it's like that whole scene with Jack and John is just undercut by like, tell me the truth, tell me what you know, and he's like, no.
I love that. You know, like the shot where you can see the shadows under the door moving.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And then, I don't know if you noticed this, Jack runs over and he slams his hands against the door and
he leaves
like,
a handprint?
He leaves a handprint. And I was like, I don't know if it's because he's just washed his hands, so maybe they're wet.
Yeah, I think
or
it's because
I was like, it's so sweaty in like Hawaii, and also it's intense. You know, he's sweating, and he's like.
I was like, it's kind of like adrenaline sweat, but also it's very much. It's almost like symbolically quite similar to like a bloody handprint.
Yeah. It made me
like
think
he's
about...
like complicit in the injuries, even though he's like not inflicting them because
the blood
he's
is on
there.
his hands no matter how much he washes them.
Lady Macbeth core.
Yeah. It
Also,
reminded me of Echo.
Yeah.
You know, the bloody handprint on the door.
Very much. And also, now listen, I don't know if I was mishearing, but I'm pretty sure right after Jack like slams on the door and is like, Saeed, open this door, and John's like, I'm not gonna. I'm pretty sure I heard Henry Gale shout for Jack by name.
Interesting.
I'm sure I heard him say, Jack, help.
He's listening.
And I was like, he's paying a lot of attention. But to like have listened to know his name.
Yeah.
And know to shout for him.
Sylvia just fell over.
Sylvia's
She
gone.
overbalanced.
Too heavy. Top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I misheard. It could have just been like
That's
a
interesting
yelling,
though,
but very interesting if I
really
heard correctly.
Weird when you come away from it. Like, how do we feel about Henry at this point? You know? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like he kind of is just like the victim. Like, you know, he's like seems very terrified, and like he actually does answer all of the questions, and he offers up a lot of information.
Yeah,
but, like,
and he doesn't seem to be trying to withhold information. He's just either confused or in pain.
yeah, and then he still gets beaten up so badly, so you're kind of like, oh my god. But then, like, I don't know, is the fact that he offers up so much information making him more suspicious to Saeed? Is this a cover story? Why is he so willing to give out the information?
Yeah, how many details does he have? And it's that whole idea of like, what would he remember? What would he know?
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And that's something I picked up on was when he says like, where I was like, it doesn't seem like he's resisting giving information, was when Saeed said like, how far was your camp from here? And he said, I don't know. And then he says, how many days walk? And he says 2. And at first I was like, oh, he's just trying to like fight back and not give up information. But then I was like, no, because he can't estimate distance, but he knows how far he walked or whatever. Like that I thought worked. But something like, in terms of like how I felt about Henry Gale, it's really interesting because it's like the whole episode, I was very much like, oh, he's one of the others, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is a cover story. He's one of the others. He's, you know, he's been caught. He's panicking. And then it's when Jack says to Saeed that this is what Danielle did to you.
Yeah.
You know, she was convinced you were one of the others, and she tied you up and shocked you, and you were telling the truth. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, of course, seeing someone else in the jungle is suspicious. But, like, you don't know.
It could just be the same thing.
Could be the same situation. And it's like the whole thing when he talks about Shannon's death, and it's like, it was an accident. She thought, the woman who killed her thought she was someone coming to hurt her, and it says, like, thought she was one of you. And I was like, that obviously is a very impactful line, but it's also like, well, yeah, that was a mistake, you know?
What if this is a mistake?
What if this is a mistake?
Yeah.
What if this is just another situation where someone is going to get hurt because of a misunderstanding? You know, it killed Nathan.
Yeah.
Their suspicions. Like,
hey guys, please don't tell me you've forgotten about Nathan.
Nathan, justice for Nathan.
The show clearly has justice for Nathan. He wasn't even featured in that supercut. I am obsessed with the previously on of this episode being an others supercut. That was gorgeous.
Amazing. Starting so far back with Danielle and Saeed. Incredible.
It really gave you every piece of information you needed.
It was like something I've really enjoyed. It was John's speech being laid over the footage of Jin and Echo seeing the feet walking past.
Yeah.
We're not the only people on this island. And I was like, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was a very cool piece of cinematography.
Yeah.
And just, that was amazing. And I think, in a way, it's like, is that pushing us towards thinking that Henry Gale is another?
Well, he's not really behaving like these guys, though, is he? He's
No.
not like Ethan. He's not like the bearded guy. You know, he's very afraid and chatty, you know, yappy and scared and everything. Whereas Ethan was very, like, stoic and cold, wasn't he?
Yeah, but then Goodwin was very casual. He was
True,
very, like,
true.
in with the group, and he was friendly with them all. But I guess the situation called for it a bit more because there was less of them. So maybe it's like, well, this situation calls for someone, you know, who is very scared.
Good point.
It's just all so complicated because it's like you don't know. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah. Which is why it's so exciting.
There's literally, at this point in the plot, there is no way of knowing if he's telling the truth or not.
Yeah. The thing that always struck me as weird about this episode was the fact that Danielle gives him up. But then, rewatching it, because in my head I was always like, okay, I remember that Danielle captures him because I love my bestie with the bow and arrow. Iconic.
So peak. The way she, like, makes the whole thing of giving up the gun to Saeed and is like, if I'm lying, shoot me. And then she's like, Ben, there's this crossbow I found.
I have 200 weapons stored around.
She just habits the entire jungle. Like, it's one of these days, like, one of the others is gonna, like, one of the camp is gonna, like, go off into the jungle for, like, a different mission quest. And it's just gonna find, like, a machete in a bush. And be like, who put this here?
Yeah. Well, that kind of happens when the rock trap falls on Charlie's head. Doesn't it?
I mean, she did set that on purpose so that...
Oh, she did?
He wouldn't
there was an accidental one in Numbers. Hurley accidentally trips a trap. She wasn't trying to trap Hurley.
Yes.
Or anyone.
But it indicates that they're getting close to her camp, I guess.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I guess.
she wasn't trying to trap him.
But yeah, so I remembered that, him being shocked, because I was like, it's so fucking cool and just so unnecessary.
So ruthless.
So brilliant.
Just crossbow through the shoulder.
Average day
ouch,
for
you know?
my bestie Rousseau. Why on earth, if she had captured one, would she give him up?
Yeah.
But when you rewatch the scene, it's like she doesn't intend to give him up. She intends to keep him in that net.
To find
She
Saeed.
goes like, oh, I'm going to go find Saeed because he's going to help me get the information out of him because I know that he's a torturer, right? So it's Saeed then who frees him. Then she has to resort to other measures. And then she goes... I wrote it down because I loved it. She goes, he's no good to you dead. Take him to your doctor, he's no good to you dead. It's so flippant. It's like she does not care about his life at all.
Very similar energy to when Echo emerges onto the golf course with Sawyer over his shoulder and goes, where is the doctor?
Yeah. Yeah. But he actually cares about saving Sawyer. Do you know what I mean? She sees him as a means to an end of finding Alex, which I love. I'm very consistent with her character. Also love the way that she just randomly pops in every now and then.
Amazing. I love that it's like when Ana Lucia comes out of the jungle and is like, there's someone out there, and Saeed's like, I'll deal with this.
Yeah.
He said, that's my girlfriend.
Go back, I'll deal with
Don't
this.
worry. That's my girl. It's fine.
So brilliant.
I would be
love
really
them.
interested. I kind of wish Ana Lucia was more present in the plotline of this episode.
Yeah.
Because I would be really interested to see what her reaction to Henry Gale would be. Because it's like, we've seen her be very on the offensive with the others.
Yeah.
You know, she's very convinced that they're super dangerous. She's terrified of them. You know, she put Nathan in the pit. She killed Goodwin.
She was going to cut his finger off. Yeah.
She was going to cut his fingers off. It's like she
tortures them too.
Super on the offense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and she like ties Saeed to that tree because she's like, he's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
But like now that she knows she was wrong about Nathan and that she accidentally killed Shannon, I would be really interested to know how she approaches the situation. Because it's like, would she be like, yes, torture him for all the information? Because that's like the immediate instinct I would have is that Ana Lucia would be very on board with Saeed torturing him.
Yeah.
But then it's like, when you think about it for a bit longer, it's like, well, actually, would she? Would she be more like,
it's an interesting question.
We can't make another mistake?
Yeah. I reckon if Danielle had interacted with Ana Lucia in that moment at the very start,
They would have left him in the net.
it would have gone exactly as she planned. They
Yeah.
would have kept him in that net, poked him with sticks, until he told the truth.
The concept of Danielle and Ana Lucia teaming up.
What is it the kids say these days? Level 10 mother quake.
I love the way that Danielle sort of moves through the narrative. And that she would just kind of slide into the location and be like, this is happening, and then leave again.
Honestly, as soon as she shows up,
You know it's a good episode.
Yeah.
When Danielle's in town.
Yeah.
And like, I love also that the implication is it's like, she knows where their camp is. She's just choosing not to be anywhere near them.
Yeah.
You know? Like if she could go and be with them, you
She
know,
doesn't want to.
she could have, I guess. They wouldn't probably accept her after she took Aaron, but like, in the beginning, Saida's like, come back with me, and she's like, no. And it's like, she knows where they are. She's probably keeping tabs on them, but she like, is still going it alone.
You have to sort of remember that she kind of is mad, for want of a better word. She is mad at this point. So like every decision that she makes is kind of tainted by this like, you know, madness that she's having to deal with, that you know she's been driven to by being alone for so long. So I think she actually wouldn't have a good time around other people adjusting.
She would
to
very
their
much
dynamic.
struggle to reintegrate, I think.
Totally. We see that when the way that she reacts to the baby, right? Because like in her head that made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she's just so interesting.
When he said, "What are you doing here, Danielle?" and she said, "Looking for you," I drew a little heart eyes emoji.
Here to see you,
babe.
But I do think, like, I think the thing about giving up the gun is it's kind of funny because she does pull the crossbow later on.
Yeah.
But I do think the conversation about trust is very interesting.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why should I trust you? After what you did to the baby is a very prevalent conversation right now, you know, in the narrative.
Yeah.
With like Charlie, but also with like Danielle and with everything, and like,
with the others coming back into it, right?
Yeah.
Because you know that was the whole. They were the ones who kidnapped her in the first place.
Yeah, and like with you know, with like trusting the tail section and so many things. And so I thought that the way that was done was very interesting. That it's like Saeed obviously does trust her.
But does he?
But does he? It's like, he's not concerned for his safety, clearly, because otherwise he would have kept Alicia with him. He would have been like, I know her, but, you know, keep an eye out.
He knows that she won't hurt him, but that doesn't mean he trusts her. But yeah, for her to give up her prisoner like that, oh, I bet she's regretting it now.
I know.
But then what if he is innocent? I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing that he has been given up, because Jack's gonna treat him nicely at least.
Yeah,
Everyone
I mean, if
else
she'd just taken him away after shooting him, he definitely would have, you know, croaked it. Because...
well, he's no good to her dead.
Yeah, but she's not a doctor.
True.
So, and she did shoot him in the shoulder.
But the wound is hardly fatal. That's what Saeed was like.
I know. I found that very interesting.
The wound is hardly fatal.
I actually kind of found that interesting when Jack was like, you're going to just let him bleed to death. And Saeed's like, it's hardly life-threatening. And I was like...
but isn't it though?
How much of that is like posturing and being like, he's fine, let me do my thing. But then I was like, how much of that is like, you know, hospital injuries versus like army injuries?
Oh, that's a good point,
you know?
Actually. He's probably seen, people's, like, you know, limbs be shot off in battle, whereas, you know,
and
Jack
like,
is, like...
it's all very severe injuries and a lot of, like, being in the army as far as... It's, like, a lot of, like, you know, you keep going until you physically can't anymore. Whereas, like, what Jack experiences is a lot more kind of sanitized and, like...
And, you know, like, that's not to say, like, when we saw, I'm thinking about the first episode of this series, Man of Science, Man of Faith, the kind of, like, medical drama style flashbacks that Jack has, those are intense, right?
Of course,
and they're gory, and it's
not to
horrible.
say that Jack's career isn't incredibly severe and that he doesn't deal with extreme injuries, because he absolutely does.
He absolutely does, and he has to deal with the psychological impact of that on himself and his patients and everybody. However, like, the first scene of this episode... oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't even see any violence. So, I mean, yeah, you kind of have to go, well, he put himself for, he wanted to be a soldier. Do you know what I mean? Like, he signed up to join the army.
And
this
he
is
says,
his career.
doesn't he? He says to
not like,
Henry Gale, like, a part of me was always capable of that.
Yeah. It's not like Echo who's been forced into this narrative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like Jack, who's doing this, A, because of his father, and B, because he's trying to help people. Like,
yeah,
maybe
it's very
he
different.
believes he's trying to help people, but like, you know,
it's a very different kind of helping.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, let's not get too deep into our own personal views on the army. I think that's a key thing to remember in this episode. We're not here to, you know, this is a light-hearted podcast.
Keep it light.
Keep it light. I just think that
but I don't
scene
agree
at the beginning. No. Hot take.
Hot take,
I think
war is
bad. And I think that scene at the beginning is really intense and like... yeah, like the shredding of the documents and stuff, and like the bombs going off, and the kind of like you know, doing a bit of Star Trek acting.
Yeah.
Whoa, kind of thing. But it's really effective and affecting. I was very affected by it. I was like, wow, here we are. We're in the shit now. It's an immediate, like, establishing this is going to be an intense flashback narrative for Sayid.
Slightly taken away from by the terrible computer-generated army camp.
Oh, yeah, that was rough.
This episode, really, we were talking about things that date the series. We didn't really touch on the special effects. But this, oh boy, the CGI, the green screen in this episode, abysmal.
Fuzzy around the edges, to say the least. Yeah.
Like that, like it looked like a Minecraft
that
build.
helicopter going down. I was laughing. What's going on in the flashbacks? Diva.
Incredible.
Diva, please.
Not incredible in a good way, but like incredibly done.
Yeah, and like fascinating to watch, but so horrible. Oh my god. And it's
so
like
horrible.
I think the thing that always was the biggest kick in the stomach for me was finding out that Mr. Krabs' character could speak Arabic
So
at the
he
end.
could have just done it himself the whole time.
Oh!
It's
one
so
of
horrible.
the most evil characters in the flashback.
Truly, like...
And, you know, there are lots, but yeah, I think this guy is up there, and he's barely in it as well.
Yeah.
And he's not even the most interesting, because Kate's dad is there.
Yeah, Sam Austin is here.
Sam Austin is here. Which is
Crazy because
lovely.
Diane was in the last episode.
I know. It's lovely because it's like, oh, look at the connections, and in case you didn't pick up on the fact that it was the same actor, which I noticed, I think.
I didn't.
But he's looking at a picture of Kate.
He's like, do you have any kids? And he's looking
in the truck, just so you can all connect the dots. Really interesting when you think about how he kind of shaped Kate to be who she was, and he also shaped Sayid to be who he is.
Very
on the island.
much. And you got to think, like, how old was Kate at this time? Because she's
a lot younger.
An adult in that picture, but that's obviously just the same actor. I don't know how old she's supposed to be.
Let's think about it.
I'm trying to think. We did figure out how old she was, didn't we? Why did we keep coming back to this?
I
think we figured out she was about 27. I want to say.
She's like a kid in the 80s. Where's the episode? What episode is it when they find the tape?
That is Born to Run.
That is Born to Run. I feel like it's in this.
And she's 12 in the recording.
89. August 15th, 1989.
When they made the recording.
Yes.
And that's when she's 12.
Okay.
So the Gulf War was
91.
She was 14.
14 then. Wow.
No way was she 14 in that picture.
Look.
Adult
if they'd have had just a
Lily.
14 brunette girl, we wouldn't have been like, who that?
Yeah, no, that's true. It would have had to go into a bit more of a detail of like, I have a daughter, her name is Kate.
Yes.
And we'd have to be like, well, and then it's like, well, would Sayid remember that?
Yeah.
I have to say, and speaking of like aging though, don't you think the short hair makes him look so much younger?
Yeah.
They like
I totally believe that he's 23.
I completely would believe that they filmed all of that way earlier on. You know, he looks so much younger.
Yeah, totally.
Something about like it's the short hair, but also like I don't know what it is. They've done something.
I think it's kind of his demeanor as well.
Yeah.
Like he's a lot more not naive, but
Like
kind of
vulnerable.
Like vulnerable.
A lot more like vulnerable. A lot more vulnerable. Like he's very much more like open, and it seems like the things that happen to him are affecting him a lot more than like the Sayid we see like on the island and in the later flashbacks. He's a lot better at kind of sort of compartmentalizing and being like, just keep going. Whereas this is like...
Is that a good thing? Probably not.
No, but it's like he's developed this thicker skin, but like in this early flashbacks he hasn't. I think it's so... There's definitely a lot of significance, I think, in that we don't see what Sayid does to Tariq, but we do see what he does to Henry Gale.
Yeah, that's true.
I
well,
thought
partially. Sometimes it's obscured.
But, like, we can hear it and we can see it.
When we see him on the island, like, after he tortured Sawyer, he was like, I said I would never do that again.
Yeah.
But he has.
Something that I found really cool as well was, it was said by Danielle, but it was also said, I believe, by Mr. Krabs later in the episode. A kind of, like, what Danielle says is, like, talk to him, if I recall, that's what you do. And Mr. Krabs says something similar, I think. Okay. But I think that could be interesting in terms of this idea we were talking about last week with like a tiger don't change its stripes.
Yeah.
And like, this is who you are. Like what
really pushing
Gordy
that.
says to Sawyer about being a con man. He says it's not what you do, it's what you are.
Yes.
I mean, so much about the dialogue. Every bit of the dialogue in this episode feels very intentional.
Yeah.
It feels very much like everything they say is pretty loaded. I think a couple things that really stuck out to me when Jack is treating Henry Gale and John and Saeed are talking about changing the combination lock, and John says like, are you just doing this to punish him? And he says, why would I need to punish anyone?
Interesting.
I was like, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Because also that's John's perspective, right?
Yeah.
John has a lot of anger, and he's like, I need to take out that anger on something or someone.
Yeah.
Whereas Saeed,
he's a lot more...
it seems not. Yeah. But then I don't know, is Shannon's death impacting him?
I mean, definitely,
And,
right?
Yeah.
But
I
in
think
a
so.
way that's different to what John perceives it as. Like, I think the way John sees it is like, Henry Gale is one of the others, and Saeed wants to torture him as like retribution for what happened to Shannon.
Yeah.
Whereas like Saeed, I think, is seeing it more as like he's using it to pick holes in Henry Gale's story, isn't he?
Yes.
He's like, I don't believe your grief because I've just been through that.
Yeah.
And it's not the same.
Yeah, and think back to Collision when he says to Anna Lucia, what's the point in killing me if we're both already dead? Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's not screaming someone who's like needing to get revenge on Shannon's death.
And like, very
It's
much
a lot
also,
sadder than that.
if he needed to get revenge on Shannon's death, also, we know that he's forgiven Anna Lucia. And that's something that is reinforced in this episode when he says it was an accident.
Yeah.
And he says, like, the woman who did it thought that she was trying to hurt her. It's like he obviously understands that situation and feels no, you know, displaced anger towards Anna Lucia. And so it feels like a completely different, like, situation.
Yeah. But now he does have, this is the thing, he now does have someone to blame for that. If he was looking for someone to blame, he's got the perfect candidate.
who it is. Yeah.
But it feels to me like he's not trying to do that. He is trying to get information. It's just that maybe like his previous qualms about torture and going back to that are now gone. Maybe because of his recent grief, right?
Maybe, yeah.
And he's obviously not in a very good place at the minute.
Yeah.
This music is quite depressing, let's not forget that. I think, like, yeah, he's a different person now than he was when he tortured Sawyer, than he was in the flashbacks of this episode. Do you know what I mean?
For sure,
like, there's so many facets to his character.
So much, like, development and change going on, and, like, nuance within his character.
Completely.
Another thing that stuck out to me was how this episode kind of draws Jack's morals into question. Because it's like...
we both know that Jack will have some problems with what needs to be done.
Ah!
Love that line.
Red for Phil.
Such a serve.
Something I wanted to propose is, do you think that the reason why... like, Jack seems to trust that Henry Gale is telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do we think the reason for this is? Is it because of, like, the mistakes made with, like...
is this Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You're giving me the options. Is it A?
Basically, what I'm proposing is that the reason why Jack trusts Henry Gale is because Henry Gale was injured and Jack had to treat him. And so he views him as someone in, like, a vulnerable position, like a patient...
yeah.
who he has to take care of, who, like, as a doctor, he has a moral obligation to treat his patients regardless of his personal opinions of them, right? Like, that's a thing, I think. Like, that's part of, like, medical training. That the reason, like, something in Jack's brain is saying, like, he's a patient so I can trust him, because I have to look after him. And he isn't really considering the full, like, isn't really able to consider the full scope of what's going on, because he views Henry Gale as, like, a patient who needs help.
That's interesting. I like that as an idea.
And I just think that could be very interesting with things to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winky face.
I mean, it's hard to tell what Jack's opinions of Henry Gale
But also,
are.
it's like he's at odds with John massively right now.
It's more about John and the fact that he's just like, how have we jumped to this conclusion immediately? And he's got a point. Like, why are we being in black and blue before he's even said hello?
The way that Jack pushes John at the end. Incredible Jack moment there. Incredible Jack moment.
Pushing him up against
when
the
he
wall.
slams him up against the wall, and then when the alarm starts to sound, he goes, I'm not pushing it until you open that door.
I wrote down Jack is crazed in that moment.
Jack, it's like...
He's like got this look at him and he's like, I don't think anything's going to happen when we don't push the button. Suddenly...
It's like, I don't care. He says, like, you got me to push it once, John, but that button is your responsibility now.
Suddenly he's like so manic and just like, well,
it's
let's
like,
just see what happens
it's
then,
all
shall we?
built up, and it's just like, you know, kind
so
of
good.
Exploding out of him, this whole idea of like,
I've said it before and I'll say it again. The button is my favourite character. It's my favourite storytelling device. Because like, it just, whenever the beeping comes in, it's so good.
Adds such an incredible new layer of tension.
Yes.
The idea of like, all of this is happening. The idea also that then all of this has happened in the last 108 minutes.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Is like something to think about in terms of the timeline. And like, that moment where Jack is like, I'm not gonna let you. And John then has to battle with his belief. And like his, you know, can he trust that the button, he thinks that the button is like what he's supposed to do. And it's like, if it's what he's supposed to do, then he has to let Jack free Saeed. Does that mean that Jack freeing Henry Gale is part of what's supposed to happen?
Who does he trust more, Henry Gale or the button?
Or himself? And like, I love that when he starts to recite the code and Jack's like, you think I'm that stupid?
I wrote that down too. Right, 15, you think I'm that stupid? 15, there were so many numbers in this episode. Oh, we'll get to that.
But then
we need to talk about the hieroglyphics. Oh my god.
Jack opens the door, pulls Saeed away from Henry Gale. John enters the numbers.
Henry Gale is laying seductively on the floor.
Paint me like one of your French girls on the floor.
He decided, like, finish getting beaten up, and I'm like, let me serve real quick.
Face real quick.
Anyway, yes,
and
sorry, this is important.
The timer goes down to 0. And before John can enter all the numbers, it starts spinning to red and white.
So we hear a whirring noise, don't we? Like a click, and like a whirring noise. And then the timer flicks, and then we get red and black, actually, red and black. I think it is. Red panels coming down with hieroglyphics on, and then nearly all 5 of them flip over. He then re-puts the numbers in, presses execute, and then it goes back to normal. Now that's interesting to me. That you can do it like just after the 108 it can still like, reset and everything goes back.
Yeah, what's happened is like some procedure has begun.
Yeah.
Something has started happening.
But it is stoppable.
But it's not to the point of no return yet. He is able to reset it.
Which in a way leans me more
begs
towards
the question.
It's a psychological experiment.
Is it going to do anything?
Yeah. Because like
surely not pressing the button that's doomsday, that's end of the world.
Yeah. But I guess it's not just like an instant mushroom cloud.
Insta-kill.
Yeah.
It's like a building up of a process, but it's very interesting.
But the whirring and stuff makes you kind of go, okay, something's happening.
And the alarms kept changing tones and like, but it's also like how much of the energy in the hatch is from like the tension of the whole situation, you know? Like, it seemed like there was some like shaking going on, but it's like, is that just a shaky camera? Because it's like following Jack as he's running, or like what, you know? The whole situation is so high intensity that we as viewers don't know what's real, which is very much like we don't know if the button's real, we don't know if Henry's telling the truth. We don't know what's real anymore.
Yeah. Everything has a huge question mark over it from this
Mind
episode.
blown.
And it's great. I really do want to talk about the camera angles as well, which was so good. Like, when Jack and John were kind of having their confrontation, it was all very kind of shaky, as you say, like kind of like weird, like sort of chin up camera, like high and low, and kind of all doing all of this. And it's like, I don't know, the shifting power dynamics. And then like when Saeed goes in to torture Henry, it's like really low. and it's like really, he looks like he's really towering over the camera, and it's like, yeah, got this real sort of intimidating aura about him, and I really liked that.
Absolutely. And then I think, like, you know, in the flashbacks, the camera was far more steady.
Completely.
Which draws a very interesting, like, opposition between the two. But I think it is interesting how Saeed, when he says to Mr. Krabs, you know, what you made me do a person should never have to do to another person, that Saeed has never made anyone else take the burden of those, like, actions. That, like, if we look at his actions on the island, his behaviour is very much like, I will do it.
Yes. And in fact, he actively tackles Shannon, doesn't he?
Yeah.
To stop her from killing John, because he knows how much that's going to affect her.
And he wants to stop anyone else from going through those things. That's a really good point. You know, when Danielle kidnaps Aaron, he's like, I will go and get him. And Charlie insists on coming with him. It's very much like, I will deal with it. And part of that, I think, is a loyalty to Danielle, but also part of it is knowing how dangerous she is and what she did to him. You know, maybe him sending Ana Lucia away at the beginning of the episode was him being like, this might be a dangerous situation. Yeah. I will handle it.
And that shows how different he is to Mr. Krabs and how much that character affected him. Yeah. Being like, I will never make anyone else do
what I've
you have made me do. I will never be that guy.
Crucially, what you have made me do when you didn't need to as well. I want to talk about Henry Gale's story.
His story, please. Let's
run through all the details we've gotten of his story.
Please. Yes.
So he crashed on the island 3 months ago.
4
months ago.
4 months ago, thank you. Yes.
Is that longer than they've been there? Yes, right?
Yes.
Because it's like mid-November right now.
Yes.
Aaron was born on the 1st of November, I know that.
Yes. Because Halloween night was when it was all kicking off.
Was when Boone fell from the cliff.
Yes. So yeah, it's mid-November now.
Mid-November, so...
And they've only been there about a month and a bit, I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh no, 2 months. Because they crashed end of September, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Henry and Jennifer Gale have been on the island twice as long.
Yes, as our crash
survivors. I guess. Yeah. Or 3-4 weeks longer than our crash survivors. That's interesting. They've survived this long. They've not seen anyone else. He doesn't know who the others are. Let's entertain that he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And then we can entertain that he's lying and look at the different details of it. Because I think this will be interesting.
This is a true crime podcast now.
So he doesn't know anything about the others.
No.
He doesn't know who they are.
No.
So...
That would lead you to believe he's not met anybody else.
He's not met anybody else, and so him and his wife, I guess, were not useful to the others.
They weren't on the list.
They weren't on the list.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what, we don't know what criteria they're using.
About a damn thing.
We don't know what criteria the others are using.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
They lived in a cave off the beach, same as our main survivors did.
For a bit.
And then 3 weeks ago,
yeah,
she got sick and died.
Now the sickness. Please
Let's
welcome
talk
her
about
back to the stage.
Enter the sickness.
Enter the sickness. Wow. Sorry. So, started as a fever. After 2 days, she was delirious. Then she died. That's all we get.
Interesting.
What? How did she die? What do you mean she just died? Then she died after being delirious.
You can just die of a fever, right? Just because if your body gets too hot.
What I mean is, like, what did it look like? Yeah. What happened to her?
Were there any other symptoms? Was she, so she was delirious. Was she acting, was she behaving really oddly? Maybe she was like, what Danielle says is Danielle's implication of, like, her team got sick is that, like, the Whispers got them, right? Yeah. So it's like, was she, like, corrupted somehow?
Yeah. Delirious. Was she delirious? Was she talking about whispers in the jungle? Was she talking about black smoke monsters? Was she talking about evil people running around?
Did she see a horse?
Yeah. All of these questions we gotta ask. And then, Danielle, see, her team died because she killed them.
Yes.
Or at least she killed Robert. We know that much. Robert. Because he was sick. So she's, like, killing him because he's sick. But then the idea is she the one who's sick and then she's killing him?
Killing them because she's
Did
paranoid.
Henry kill his wife because she was sick? Then
Maybe-
she died.
Maybe that's what he's
under
lying about.
mysterious circumstances.
Maybe he's telling the truth about his story, but what he's leaving out is that he killed his wife.
Who knows? Who knows?
And then he buried her.
But really interesting that if he's telling the truth about all of this, he has independently discovered this sickness.
Yeah.
Like, his wife has been infected with this sickness.
Despite seemingly no other interactions with anyone else on the island.
Yes.
So that indicates that the sickness is something intrinsic in the environment of the island.
Not necessarily related to the others or the whispers.
Like, previously, we thought it might be something to do with, like, what Ethan was injecting Claire with.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff. What, like, Desmond has in the hatch. Those injections.
Yeah.
And, you know, he says, if any of you got
But
sick...
then he's quarantined, so that also gives us more indication of, like, it's in the atmosphere, it's in the air.
Yeah.
There was something in the air that night, the stars so bright,
Fernando. So that's, yeah, it just presents a very interesting narrative.
Completely.
Okay, so what other things do we know about him? He was trying to travel across the Atlantic, was it? I wrote that down. Yes, Atlantic.
Okay.
In a hot air balloon. Comically ridiculous way to end up on an island. Can we say that?
So funny.
Comical.
I really loved the kind of, like, bitterness with which he said, and if you looked at it from above, it would have a big smiley face on it.
And because it's like
Diva is so past that at this point.
So
he's not had a smiley face for weeks.
You know, obviously he spent all of this time cursing himself and thinking, if he just hadn't been so rich and so arrogant. And so, like, there's this thing you find from a lot of, you know, people who have a lot of money, they feel untouchable.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was like, I'm going to go on this grand adventure and pretend to be an explorer.
Yeah, and kind of like a kind of retirement thing, it felt like. He sold his company.
sold his mining company.
And let's just go and have an adventure in our lovely island. And then they actually have, you know, crash land on a desert island.
And it's this, like...
And it's awful.
It's not this, like, lovely Robinson Crusoe adventure.
No.
It's like, it's
Sipping
terrible.
mojitos on the beach, as Sawyer would say. Yeah.
It's terrible, and his wife is dead, and he's alone, and, like, they've been surviving. We don't know, we didn't hear anything about, like, what they've been eating or anything like that.
That's interesting. How has he survived this long?
I mean, presumably the same way that they have, but,
Just
you know, he's
eating
not
things.
killing boar, I don't think.
Well, does he have any weapons? We don't know. Clearly not on him right now, but, like, maybe he could.
Maybe he did, maybe his camp. Also, why did he leave his camp? You know, his wife died 3 weeks ago, but it's only a 2 days walk from where he got caught in the trap.
Yeah.
So
So why did he start trekking?
Yeah, why did he stay there for that amount of time? Obviously he's gone, he said that he has to leave, but why? Why does he start walking away? Was he trying to find someone else? Like...
Yeah. Did Rousseau find his camp, chase him out?
Did Rousseau lure him? Yeah.
Maybe. Did he hear the whispers and was like, let me go see what's going on over there?
Yeah.
So many questions. We know
he
so much, but we
see-
know so little. I see
What
why
if-
Saeed is annoyed.
What if, you know how Jack saw Christian off in the distance, what if he saw his wife?
Yeah, maybe.
Chased her off into the jungle?
Yeah, could be. Certainly could be.
Could be.
Certainly possible. I was doing a bit of interrogating myself. I started to pick holes in his story. He said that he mined non-metallic metals.
No, that is a thing.
Non-metallic metals.
It's like, I can't remember it from GCSE science, but it's something to do with
How
like...
can you have a metal that's not metal?
It's like certain properties, it's stuff like not magnetic and like...
People say non-magnetic metals then, not metallic metals.
It is a
Surely
thing.
metallic is the adjective you use to describe something when it is metal. He's lying. Me beating him up. You're lying! Didn't you take GCSE science?
What was the other thing I was going to say about his... Yeah, I mean that was quite... People always wanted to talk to me at cocktail parties.
He's quite funny, and I
He is
think
quite
like,
funny.
the fact that he's able to crack jokes in this situation,
He seems pretty calm.
it gives off a calm
But
energy.
at the same time, he is very scared.
Yeah. Is it like a desperation thing though? Is it kind of like I'm trying to appeal to you as a human
Appeal,
being?
yeah, kind of like relating.
Yeah.
That's something that are like, it's their fawn instinct, isn't it? We're friends, don't hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try and reduce yourself into something like, you know, vulnerable and pathetic and crack a joke, and then maybe he won't think you're a threat.
Yeah. Is he doing
Could
that?
be.
Or is he actually...
Is he intentionally performing that?
totally relaxed and in control, and is just, like, being a bit snide for fun?
Yeah.
Who knows?
A tiny detail that I noticed, if we live in the world where Henry Gale is lying, he says that they had a radio transmitter. I wrote down an ADF beacon.
I wrote that down too. I was like, he's got the terminology. You know, it seems like he knows what he's talking about.
Stuff. But crucially, a radio transmitter, a beacon, emergency beacon, is something Saeed wants.
Mm.
And that turns the tables a little bit. Because Henry Gale has the power to give Saeed something he wants. You know, a radio signal that could get off the island, a beacon that could get help.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this is something that Saeed has worked towards very strongly across the entire show.
Yeah.
To try and get communication off the island. And here's some new equipment that he might be able to do something good with that Henry doesn't have the skills to. You know, he's not a trained in any way. Obviously, he knows his stuff to the extent of what equipment he has, but Saeed definitely has more technological skills than him. Maybe Saeed could do something to escape with it. That's interesting.
But then don't forget, they had this beacon set up for 4 months and no one came to rescue them.
But maybe, you know, Saeed could use the radio tower or something.
Yeah,
He
maybe.
could triangulate the whatever.
Yeah,
and
boost it
then
up
John
with a
could hit him
big,
with a stick
rods.
again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's interesting.
I do see what you mean.
And I think if he is lying, I think he slipped that detail out, you know, as like I've got something you want.
Yeah. But then it's like, how does he know what they want? Has he been keeping tabs on
the
them?
others know about them, don't they?
Yeah. Are they watching?
Are they watching?
Always watching.
It's interesting. A little nod to the others that I noticed as well was in the flashbacks. First thing he pulls out is like a US Army knife.
Oh, cool!
And I was like, just like the one they find on the island that Goodwin uses to dramatically cut open that mango.
That's cool. Imagine if it was the same knife in a horse-style reveal.
The question I have for you, Ariel. Obviously, we've seen the rest of the show. We know whether Henry Gale is lying or not. What I want to ask you is, when we first watched the show, did you believe him?
I genuinely don't remember. I know, that's annoying.
That's
a very unsatisfying answer. I genuinely don't remember. Did you?
I did. I believe that he was Henry Gale. 100%. I think I was like, there'd been a lot of like misguided accusations, and I was like, I think he's telling the truth, and I think that this is going to be like another incident of like, we've taken this too far, you know.
I think I thought he was lying. I can't really remember, but like...
Yeah, I think I remember our parents being incredibly elusive about any details around Henry Gale. Yeah. They were very carefully being like, so what do you think about Henry Gale?
They were actually very good at not spoiling
very
this one.
Good. And they really like tried so hard.
Yeah. So we're going to do the same. We're not going to say any more as to whether he's lying or telling the truth.
Give me one moment. I need to Google something to see if I can mention it. Yes, I can. Okay, so something else that is interesting that might affect your opinions of Henry Gale one way or another is that you may recognize his actor from the first Saw movie.
Yes.
So this is something that I didn't know about. I've not seen Saw, but one of my friends is a big fan of the Saw franchise, and it was like they were showing me a clip from the film or a meme or something, and I went, oh my god, that's Henry Gale from Lost. and now I used that to convince them to watch the show.
Yes.
Because they were like, oh, he's really, really good in Saw. And his narrative in Saw, as far as I'm aware, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, anyone listening to this who's seen Saw, is that you think his character is doing all the killing and the torturing initially, but actually he isn't. He's like an accomplice or an innocent bystander or something. I don't think he's innocent. He is involved in the schemes, but he's not the mastermind that you think he is, that you're led to believe he is. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah. Which came first?
So Saw came out 2004. So very soon.
So
before.
I reckon the writers watched that and went, this guy, we need to get him and do a kind of similar thing, right?
Do a similar situation. And I just think that, I don't know, if I'd seen Saw, would that have influenced my opinions of Henry Gale?
Yeah.
Would I have gone, oh, it's going to be another one of those situations where he's actually not the murderer? Or would I have been like, oh, no, but he was so good at playing the creepy guy in Saw, maybe he's going to be the murderer? I don't know. It's interesting. Let's talk about Sawyer and the Frog.
Oh, can we leave that to the end? No.
No, because then we're going to want to circle back to all of the cool stuff. Let's talk about Sawyer and the Frog. It won't take as long.
It's another one like the golf course one. It's like
a
tonal,
a sort of tone release, I guess. It's like
but it just
here's a
it's
balance.
Really jarring. It's just like, why the fuck are we talking about a frog right now?
But I think it's not done particularly effectively in this episode.
No, I don't like the frog plot
because
line.
I am like, we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I think the intensity versus the comedy is not balanced correctly. If it was a slightly less intense situation and a slightly funnier subplot, I think it would work better. I think, the idea of introducing the idea of Hurley having a food stash rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
I don't like that he went through a whole episode where the resolution he came to was we have to share the food between everyone, and the whole time he's been hiding some of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a fatphobic narrative. Yeah. I know that they try and push it as Hurley has his moment where he's like, okay, tell everyone the fat guy's stealing food, I don't care. They like me. And I'm like, sure, but also, why did you write in a plotline where the fat guy was hiding food?
Yeah. I was going to ask you what you thought about that monologue, to be honest, because I kind of like it in a way because it feels like he's if you think of Sawyer as more kind of like a school bully situation, he's taking away his power in being like, I don't care if you say those things about me. I know. You think I don't know?
Yeah. And it's very much he has a lot of awareness and clearly a lot of sort of not necessarily insecurity, but he's very kind of focused on his weight and how that affects his relationships and that kind of thing. And his, we don't he's obviously got a history, a difficult history with his mental health, and that's probably been influenced by shit being talked down on for his weight. But I think I don't know, it feels like they're trying to go, look, we're not shying away from talking about the fact that Hurley's fat, but they're not doing it in a good way. They're doing it still in a way of it's not haha, isn't it funny that the fat guy is stealing food, but it's still why would he do it? He everything about Everybody Hates Hugo sets it up that he's giving away the food to everyone.
Yeah.
If he wanted to hoard the food for himself, he could have told everyone that they couldn't have access to the pantry. It's
yeah.
And the whole thing is he hates that he's been made responsible of the food.
And he was going to blow it up.
Yeah.
He clearly didn't want to save it. It doesn't seem like he wanted to save the food at all in that. And also, I was saying how I really liked that it wasn't about food in terms of him being fat and eat. It was about it as an allegory for his money.
Yeah.
And having so much of an abundance of something suddenly.
That people want.
And people want it. And I really like that because I like the substitutes for currency on the island. And I liked that they kind of, obviously it was all related to it in a kind of uncomfortable way, but they didn't go, this is about his weight. They went, this is about his
It was about his money and his control and power, and it was in the inverse of what I was saying about Sawyer wanting power, is that Hurley doesn't want any power.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any control over what the group does. And so it
feels like it invalidates.
Completely, that is correct. That's the word I'm going for. It completely invalidates the journey that he went on in Everybody Hates Hugo. And for what? For a comedy plotline about a frog.
Yeah.
And it makes me angry. And I think,
so true.
It's nice. The element of it that I did like is when Hurley says, I don't care, people like me.
Yeah.
That's nice, because that is well, if they find out that Hurley's doing something they don't like, what's going to happen. Everybody likes Hurley, but everybody hates Sawyer.
Yeah.
And that, like, he has made everyone hate him and immediately is going to someone else for help.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like a bit of a comeuppance to Sawyer. It's like, okay, you've made everyone hate you, but now you need someone's help. And he's being like, you know, he actually says sorry to Hurley.
Yeah.
And that really hit me. I was like, when he goes like, hey, no, I'm sorry, just help me find the frog. And I was
please as well. And he goes, please help me find the... And I'm like... Okay, so you've just 180'd from the last episode then.
Yeah.
In the previous episode, you did a 180 to, no, I want everyone to hate me again. And now you're like, wait, no, come back.
Wait, no, actually, I lied. I do want connection.
Yeah. But the thing is, Hurley's never going to hate him because Hurley...
Doesn't hate anyone.
Doesn't hate anyone. And he's manipulating that in a way, isn't he? Because he's like, yeah, Hurley's going to, you know, be
Hurley
nice
will help
he's
me.
Nice. Yeah. But the frog
thing
is just bullshit.
It's just so stupid. It's like...
First of all, how on earth would he have been able to hear that frog from the beach? First of all,
the comical pratfall of Hurley falling over and then Sawyer catching a frog out of midair.
Oh, I hated that. So unrealistic. Why Hurley didn't need to do that fall, first of all. That felt like uncomfortable.
It felt a bit dodgy to me, especially with the weird narrative around his weight in the episode.
I appreciate that he's the comedy character and he does do physical comedy quite well in some moments, but I think they take it too far in other moments. Like, you know, like when he's in the first episode when he's trying to help Jack operate on the Marshal and he faints because of the blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Funny.
That's funny.
But like, you know, in like Numbers and stuff, when he's on like walking across the bridge and Charlie's like, well, if it could hold him and stuff, it's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. And I didn't like this fall and there's such an unrealistic catch of the frog, like,
and the fact that it's like we talked a bit about the bad CGI on the show. I mean, the special effects when it comes to the animals, comical. You know, the polar bear.
Oh yeah.
That is just like a white lump that gets thrown into the air that they then fixed with CGI because they realised how shit it looked or tried to fix.
Yeah.
You know, when he gets like the boar. There's like a baby boar, you know, and he's
and
it's like just like not moving at all, and he's
that.
just shaking it around, and I'm like, it's clearly just a bit of rubber. But like that is a real frog.
Yeah.
That is a real frog, but then nothing flies through, literally nothing flies through the air. He just goes, I've got a frog! It's like, what's this behind your ear?
It's like the reverse of whoa, frogs be upon you.
Yeah.
But it's a
like,
catch.
I have a frog now. And I'm like, what is that? And then it's like, what, all of that just to like squish it in his hand?
Yeah.
Okay, yucky boy.
Yeah.
Nasty, horrible.
Why? What was the point of any of that? Why did he kill it? Just because it's like, oh, so it's a bad person, don't forget.
Because it was annoying him and he doesn't care about it, I guess. But like, what?
Bye. This plotline, I'm just saying bye to it.
And that's everything we have to say about that.
Yeah. Now back onto the good shit. Thank you. Ooh, okay, we need to talk about a great moment that we've not discussed yet.
Is it the funny moment or a serious moment?
Funny.
Okay, because I was about to bring that up too.
Great. There's a bit where John is asleep in the bunk beds and Saeed pulls up.
He kind of rises up from the floor. So like, but John is in the bottom bunk. So like, I don't know where he's coming from.
Why he's doing this motion.
John.
I don't know.
John, wake up.
But he sort of like moves in, slides in and goes, John, wake up. And then he like looks away or something and I was like, I don't know if he says I need to show you something or if he just kind of is like, that's the end of the scene.
He's like, come with me. Something like, he like wakes him up and is like, something happened.
Yeah, essentially. But there's a really, 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 really brilliant outtake.
Fantastic.
Where, I don't know, maybe it was the slide that made him laugh, or maybe he just felt a bit weird, like this is the end of the scene and it feels like I should say something else.
Or maybe it was just the tension of the scene that he was like, we need to have a bit of fun with it.
Maybe, but it's so funny. He slides in, Naveen Andrews slides in, he goes, John, and then he kind of pauses and then starts smiling.
Terry O'Quinn opens his eyes and looks at him.
And he goes, I can't quit you, baby. And then kisses him on the mouth.
Leans in and kisses Terry O'Quinn on the lips. And Terry O'Quinn just starts laughing.
They're all
He's
laughing behind the camera. He's
can't quit you, baby.
I can't quit you, baby. And I say that one a lot.
I can't believe that's in this episode.
I know! It was so unexpected. When he came up, I was like, oh, it's I can't quit you, baby!
I can't quit you, baby.
I can't quit you, baby.
Hey, we've talked about how bad the CGI is and the special effects in this episode. Let's have a moment for the injury SFX.
Oh, yes. Absolute.
So good.
Applause to the practical effects team.
Pulling the arrow out.
Oh my god.
So yucky. So gross.
It looks really good.
It looks really realistic. Yeah. Like, when he kind of lays it down on, like, the white cloth, and it's all, like... I think this is really interesting as well of, like, if we compare this... Obviously, it's not as intense a situation, but if we compare this to, like, when Jack's treating Boone, and it's, like, it's all very makeshift, and, like, they use, like, nappies to stop the bleeding, and it's, like, cushions from the airline, and, like... But this is... He has, like... all these, like, Dharma Initiative labelled medical equipment.
Yeah. And also it's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was all done in the dark. Here they've got light, you know?
It's well lit. Everything is, like, a clean white.
Yeah.
He has, like, you know, like, alcohol or something that he pours over it. And it's, like, it's, you know, like, medical alcohol. It's not, like, vodka bottles from the plane. Yeah. It's, like... You know, we saw that he'd given Sawyer stitches. I assume he did a similar thing. He's, like, put these dressings on to Henry's shoulder.
Yeah.
Is so interesting.
Yeah, I do have to say, scenes that are so important to Ariel, definitely that you would remember monologue.
That's an incredible...
I adore that bit.
There's some amazing monologues in this show, and I think a lot of the really amazing monologues are undercut by the fact that they get repeated loads and loads of times.
In the previously on.
So, like, you know, John's speech where he's, you know, we're not the only people on this island, we all know it. Brilliant, you know?
Yeah. It's
really good and it's really impactful in the moment. But then we hear it over and over again and it's like, well, now it's just, that's like John's thing.
Yeah.
But this, it doesn't have that treatment. It's
such like a
powerful,
enclosed, beautiful moment. And it's like... I remember when I watched this the first time, I got, like, chills.
Yeah.
And, like, I think he's so good. I think they're both really good actors. Like,
really
Michael
actors.
Emerson, been in one episode, he's already stealing the show. Like, his shivering acting as the bolts of the crossbows being pulled out of him.
So good.
But anyway, so this bit, it really struck me when I first watched it, because I was like, not only is it incredible, the dialogue's incredible, it's acted so brilliantly, and it's so, like, tense and all of these things and awful and harrowing. But this was the first and only time I actually believed that Saeed and Shannon were in love.
Yeah.
It was only now, when he was going, you would remember you feeling what it would felt like to put, you know, her
body in the ground.
I was like, oh, he did love her.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about how we didn't really believe the relationship and how they didn't have much chemistry, but it's like, suddenly in this moment, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
I believe him.
Yeah.
You know?
Which in itself is annoying, because it's like, what's that trope, like fridging? When it's like, a female love interest gets killed off to give the male character more motivation.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And it's all about avenging her death.
Yes, that's what it feels like here, because it's like they didn't seem to have that chemistry on screen together, but now that she's dead, it's like, oh, he did love her. And that's annoying, because it's like the writers didn't give the actors enough to work with in scenes together, because they're both good. They're both good actors. But they like didn't give them the time of day, their relationship. Also, now that we know that Saeed was 23 in 1991 in the Gulf War, we worked this out. That means he's 36 or 37, right?
35 or 36.
35 or 36 when the events of the show are happening. Which means there's
Shannon is 20.
A 15-year age gap between Shannon and Saeed.
Shannon is 20. Her birthday is at some point during the island.
Yeah.
It's like she turns 21. She's 21 when she dies. Don't like that.
And they throw in that line of being like, oh, Shannon always likes older men. But I'm like, why have you made it a character trait of hers that she likes older men?
And it's just...
do you want to run that one by me again?
It just weirds me out a bit. And I think, like, the age differences don't play into the show dynamics, I don't think, as much as they should. Because I think it is really important to certain characters, to me, their age. Like, I think the fact that Boone is so young feels very important to his character because he's very like naive and inexperienced, and he like, because of his situation and being very rich and privileged, he doesn't have a lot of life experience.
Yeah.
And so he feels very young, and he like defaults to the older characters, but he wants to be in charge, and like that feels very important to him. Like the fact that Claire is quite young, because it's like the kind of whole like accidental pregnancy, and like Claire and Charlie feel a lot younger than like Jack and Saeed and Sawyer.
Definitely. I think they are younger. They're meant to be younger at least. And I think, Claire, wanting to give the baby up for adoption is definitely heavily
something
influenced
that happens to like young people who
by her
accidentally get pregnant.
circumstance. She doesn't have enough money. She's like, she works at a fish and chippy or something, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's like, I can't afford to raise a baby.
And like that is very important to her character, and I think equally like John's age is very important to his character because he's had a very long and very lonely life.
Yeah.
And so that feels very important, that influences a lot of his kind of decisions. But I think the longer the show goes on, the more they're all kind of placed on the same playing field. But I'm like, no, their ages are very important to their characters, I think.
And I think it's interesting that age is not necessarily equal to maturity. Because I think of John
Very
as
much.
quite immature in some moments.
Very much, yeah.
Especially when contrasted with Saeed in this episode. He feels very mature, very,
Often feels like Saeed is one of the oldest characters in terms of maturity, and obviously that's like a product of being at war and having been through all this trauma, and I think like he is affected the least by the crash itself. I think because of all the stuff he's been through. We don't even see him,
do we? In the wreckage at the beginning.
I don't think so.
We don't even see Saeed. I think the first time you see him is when he's helping Charlie build that signal fire, right?
Yeah.
Immediately on the practical.
Immediately on the ball.
I love him so much.
Because I think that's also important when it comes to Sawyer's accusations of him. Because it's like, if he was trying to bring the plane down, where was he when the crash happened?
Yes, exactly. That's probably why we don't, because we don't see Kate either. And the reason is because she is actually taking the handcuffs off in the jungle. Yeah. The plane crash is a really good way of getting characters in a TV show together who are all different ages.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to do. Like, that's why, family sitcoms are so popular, right? Because you can have 3 generations.
Yeah.
Sometimes even 4,
and it
if
gives
you've got like teenage
everyone
kids
the level
who
of
then
like
have babies.
Relatability and stuff.
Yeah. Like
everyone who watches Lost will have a character who is similar to their age.
Yeah.
In it,
And often it can feel quite stilted if it's like an office drama or something.
Yeah. Because you'd be like, these people would never be friends.
Yeah.
But then it's like in this situation, well, they would, you know?
But I agree. They don't make as much of it as they could.
And I think also that is like, when it comes to the flashbacks, sometimes I'm like, how are you fitting all this in?
Well, I remember seeing something from like the writers when they were talking about why they killed off Boone, why it was Boone who was the one. They were like, we wanted a character to die at that point in the series to kind of like, in a way, give Jack the motivation. Maybe it's a
Boone is Jack's dead wife.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Boone is Jack's dead wife.
But like, it was the perfect kind of like narrative device to like, spur the rest of the end of the series along. Essentially, they were saying we knew we wanted someone to die. We decided it was going to be Boone because he was one of the younger characters. So we knew we didn't have a lot of flashback material for him.
Yeah. They'd already given him, like, there wasn't a childhood flashback, but they'd already given him, like, childhood trauma. Yeah. So it's like, what, are we going to just see that happen? And then that's it? Like, yeah.
So that definitely played into it, and I think also played into their decision to kill off Shannon as well.
For sure, and especially because after Boone dies,
they don't know what to do with her.
She doesn't have much else in terms of backstory.
Yeah.
It's like, bring Boone back for a scene.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah, I think it does, but I think it, like, a lot of the time it feels like they've sort of crammed a lot of life in.
Yeah, totally.
To their lives,
Totally.
I'm like, if you look at Charlie, like, Charlie's definitely supposed to be a very young character. And, like, I would put him at, like, I don't know, how old would I say? 26?
Yeah, something like that. Which is crazy that he's had so... But then, that's kind of common for, like, musicians are quite young, aren't they?
I was going to say, a lot of musicians get very... especially family, like musicians where it's in the family, they start making music very early on, you know, and we've seen like Charlie gets the piano when he's like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And so it's like clearly the band formed probably quite early in their adulthood.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know, going off and he's had this whole tour and they've had their one-hit wonder and then they've crashed and burned and it's like he's only 26 and he's already
he's had this whole career trajectory, at such a young age. No, totally and
having
agree.
like Liam be older than him as well, especially, it's one of those like it feels like he's kind of dragged him, he's brought him along with him.
Yeah.
It's and really
like Kate as well. Like obviously, you know, being on the run means she's gonna have lots of different little adventures to explore, isn't it? But like,
I'm like, how's she fitting all this
How's she fitting all this in?
I mean, we did some maths as well. We had a look. So when this is happening with Sam and Saeed, yes. Kate is about 14.
No, we did that on the podcast.
Did we do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we did that upstairs earlier.
No, we did that like an hour ago.
I don't remember these things. We were reading them up.
Let's wrap this up.
Kate's 14.
Let's try and wrap this up. I'd like to mention the numbers, please and thank you.
Okay, give us some numbers.
Let's see. We've got the dead pilot, executed pilot, being buried 4 kilometres away.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Gale having been crashed on the island for 4 months. Saeed being 23 years old in the flashbacks. And the new combination on the lock starting with 15.
Very interesting. If he was telling the truth.
Of course.
Maybe he was lying to Jack about the comment. I don't think he would. In that moment, I don't think he was lying, but I think Jack was right to make him do it, you know?
And also, when John typed the numbers in, he did 16 twice.
Yeah.
He did 4, 8, 16, 16, and then he had to backspace it. I mean, in terms of what the hieroglyphs mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know if they, like, correspond to a...
But really weird that, like, hieroglyphs are there.
Hieroglyphs, it's a weird choice. It indicates interesting things.
Because it's like the Dharma Initiative, it was all founded in the 70s and it's all very sciencey, so why the hell are they doing like hieroglyphs?
Yeah.
It should be equation symbols or something.
Pi.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was like Greek letters, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would feel a bit more like it made more sense. So the hieroglyphs, I think, are a very intentional choice to throw us off, to be like, why? And
something else is going on here.
Yeah.
Something else is going on here for sure. And then, okay, so then the wrapping up of the episode.
Yes.
Thank
you for announcing it.
Of the episode of Lost.
Oh, right. The final scene, let's talk about the final scene.
Saeed goes to Charlie.
Yeah, I like this one.
And says to him, tells him all these things about how he doesn't regret it. And Charlie is like, why are you telling me? Now, incredibly reasonable question. Because, what?
Yeah.
Because also, nobody wants to talk to Charlie right now.
Yeah.
He's probably like...
Here's the thing. Saeed is using the fact that Charlie's in his evil era.
He's weaponizing that.
Yes.
Very much. And he says they've forgotten. But no,
he goes to him for a very legitimate reason. They have forgotten, Jack and John have forgotten that the others hung you by your neck and left you for dead and kidnapped Claire and did God knows what to her when she was away. And
it feels like that's similar to like, you know, with Michael, it's like, we haven't forgotten that Walt's been taken.
Yeah. But that felt quite performative, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was like John being like, you know, we haven't forgotten. Oh, no, it was Jack, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Being like, you know, we haven't forgotten. But like, none of us are going to do anything about it, really, realistically. We've got other fish to fry.
Yeah.
Whereas Saeed is going, no, I have not forgotten what they did to you. We are going to do something about it.
And how dangerous they are. And this is something that Anna Lucia has been pushing. You guys aren't scared enough. You've been lured in. You think that you have, like, security.
And I really liked how he said the others are merciless.
Yeah.
Because it's like, think about that supercut at the beginning.
Yeah.
Think about all the things that these people have done to them. Would you blame them if they wanted a little bit of revenge?
No, absolutely not. Especially someone like Charlie.
And
you know,
also,
when he kills Ethan, he doesn't feel bad for it. Very similar.
Very similar. Very similar. And like, you know, yes, they are reacting very harshly to Henry Gale, but like, I think they're being cautious.
It is, even if Henry Gale was completely telling the truth. He wasn't lying about anything. They are still on a level reasonable for being wary. You know? Like, they are...
It's extreme. Of course it's extreme. But, like, you know, think about what these people, the others, are capable of. You know what I mean? Like, they're capable of such violence. Unprovoked,
Absolutely.
you know? And, like, manipulation as well. Like, think about how Goodwin manipulated everybody. Yeah.
And I think it's very interesting, that final line of the episode, "Tell me, Charlie, have you forgotten?" Because, you know,
he ate that.
It's that you would remember. If it had happened to you, you would
Didn't
remember.
even think about that. Yes.
And it's like, it didn't happen to Jack. It didn't
No.
happen to John. So they don't remember how it feels to be at the mercy of the others.
Yeah.
But Charlie
Charlie
remembers.
does.
Charlie's the one who physically had to try and fight, you know, Goodwin off. Not Goodwin, had to try and fight Ethan off while he was literally trying to kill him.
I love that connection. Because then it's like, where does Henry fit into all this? Do you know what I mean?
Does he remember?
Does he remember? Or does he not? Has he forgotten? What a great place to end.
And I think we should leave it there.
Thank you all so much for listening. You can follow us on all the social medias. Give us a little 5-star review on Spotify if you enjoyed. Leave a comment and a like and all of that jazz. We're on YouTube as well. And then we have Instagram and TikTok and Tumblr and all of those things to post silly little videos in between the episodes. You can follow me as well if you like silly little videos. I've got a few of them cooking around as well. TikTok,
what a way to promo.
Thank you. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Ariel Hebditch. Yes, and we'll be back next week. Oh, come and see us live as well.
Yes.
Book your tickets to Lost All Caps, the live show on the 30th of May in Manchester at the Cultplex. And yeah, we will see you next week.
We've had a great time today. We're very excited to see what happens next with Henry Gale. And
Next week we've got a little treat for you because it's another interview episode. So we'll say that at the top as well. But a very good friend of mine, a fantastic comedian, Joe Owen, is coming on the podcast to talk about Lost at length.
Lots of things, lots of interesting things
As
happening.
we have mentioned, we've already recorded this one and it was a right laugh. It was so much fun. So really definitely tune into that if you have seen the whole show. Do not tune in if you haven't, because there will be lots of spoilers.
You're ready to get a whole bunch of spoilers about Henry Gale.
Specifically.
Because we do discuss him.
We do indeed. So yes, that's coming out next week.
Yes. And if you are trying to remain spoiler free, we will see you the week after for maternity leave,
which is also one of our favourites.
So excited for.
Oh, and it actually set up quite well, subtly, by that final scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about it. I'll leave you to ruminate on that and see what we might mean.
And we'll see you then.
All right, bye.